Hey peeps, thanks for peeping. Um, I think we had a pretty good adventure last time. It's kind of similar to, I was thinking about this, it's kind of similar to what happened to me when I did Tiny Frontiers, where I started with one character, but it's reverse. I started with a male character, and they died, and I ended up with a female character. And it's reversed this time. It's weird that it ended up that way. But anyway, one thing I want to talk about, I made a mistake with the weapon. I don't know why. I even mentioned it that I didn't use it for Amber, and I turned around and not used it for Torin, but it didn't matter because he survived. But whenever he attacked, he should have got to roll 2 dice and take the highest because he's using his whenever he was using his bow. I mean that was something he had. So I don't know why. Even I even mentioned it. He should be able to roll this, and I still didn't do it. I should have added two. They should have 2 dice in there for him. But anyway, I went ahead and leveled him up because if you'll look at the rules, at the end of every session, I consider the end of a session. He went in the dungeon, he wandered around for a little bit, he took that stuff and he left because he was, he's pretty wounded. So you get to go up 1 hit point, and so I've already got 13. Remember, I had 12 before, so now I'm 13. And I went ahead and adjusted the arrows as 2D. So every time I shoot or after each combat, I'll roll to see how much arrows I got left. And like I said, the clocks work where you roll the dice, what the numbers, how many 6-sided dice you roll. If any of them have a have a 1 on it, then that drops down a dice size. It just has to be 1. It doesn't mean for every 1 that you got, they're gone. Just if you got 1 on any of the dice, then it drops its size down by 1 until it's none. If there's none, then you've run out of, in this case, you've run out of arrows. And I've done the same thing for the herb pouch. The herb pouch had a 3D, and that was based on her collecting all the minty go-go. I don't know if he knows what that's. I don't think he would know what that is or have a clue about it. But I think his idea is that he will go to the village and sell anything that's in there because he don't know what it is. He's hoping they'll know what it is. And but one thing he's doing last night, or when he first got up, he climbed up to her, uh, Amber's old treehouse, which is kind of messed up. He killed her, and then, well, she she was infected by the yellow fungus, but still, he killed her, and then he wanders off and goes into her house and stays the night in the house. So he gets up there, and he eats some of it. So let's do that right first. Let's roll. Uh, we're gonna do 3 because hers was 3D. Yeah, hers the pouch is 3D. So let's see if we go down. And nope, no, yeah. This guy right here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that dragon represents 1, so it's going to go down a step. So now it's 2D. So he must have been hungry. He was chowing down on uh, that. He was chowing down on that pouch. So my brother says I need to figure out how to make fillable uh, PDFs, and I fully agree with him. I have whenever I get some spare time, I'm gonna look at how to do that because I think it would work better. But anyway, so it's dropped down to 2D, but eating that would have gave him some hit points back. But he sleeps the night there, so he's good to go. So he's back to full. When he wakes up in the morning, just like with Amber, the sun starts to come through the little cracks in the waddling, and he's getting up, he's stirring, and he's looking at that yellow fungus. It's kind of laying around him a little bit, and he's dusting it off and trying to get it off of him. And he realizes he didn't really try to wash that off. He just went straight, found out this treehouse and went straight in there and laid down. So my question is, did he get infected by it? Did it get anywhere near his head and it's starting to affect him? So we're going to leave that up to chance. We're going to make it 50-50. Let's remember with our oracle, 1 through 4, 1 through 3 is no, 4 through 6 is yes. So let's throw a simple dice on there. Ooh, yes. Yes, he was infected. So he probably doesn't know it. But we're going to go ahead and see. We're going to make a clock for him for how long before it totally takes effect. Right now, it's not visible. It's probably gone down into his head and it's starting to go into his brain, which is funny because I have several characters who have been inflicted by some kind of intelligent fungus. Like in our Traveler game, I had a character in there, a Barbarian Prince, who was infected by a purple mushroom. It was kind of similar to the one I was trying to put into this realm. But anyway, it's going to slowly be trying to get into his brain. He's got so much time. Now, he could find a cure if he ever figures out what's wrong with him. So let's see what kind. We're doing a 1d6. That's how many dice clock it'll be. 3. So it's 3D clock for Mr. Torin. The 3D fungus clock. So I don't think he knows it. I don't think he realizes. I think he's like, oh, no, it's got that stuff off of me. So he doesn't realize that slowly but surely that stuff is going to start wearing into his brain. It's going to take him over. Hopefully he'll find some cure or he'll start to notice it eventually. And he'll fix it. Now the scary thing is he's climbing down out of the tree. He looks over and he can see that village just like Amber could see the village. He's like, oh, look, there's that village over there. He's like, I'm going to go into that village and see if I can sell some of this stuff. You know, he says, I'm not eating none of the herbs or nothing because I don't know what they are. Maybe someone there will know what they are. He says, I have some money. What do you have? 19 gold. There's probably a lot of gold in a rustic fantasy type world. So he was probably wanting to buy some stuff, armor maybe some extra things to make it through the winter, extra rations and stuff. So he's going to go to this village. So he gets down out of the tree and he starts wandering across. And how far away is it is a question. So we're kind of making this abstract distance. So let's say, so it's 3. So we're going to do 3 checks if he runs into anything. And this would mostly be animals of some sort. And it could be maybe he finds something he could kill and eat and keep for later. Or he can get a pelt and take it back. As part of his hunting skill, to be able to take a pelt and fix it. So, first of all, what we're going to do, we're going to roll. We're going to do the oracle. He starts moving. His first segment. Does he run into anything? Yes, he does. Is it an animal? No. Oh. Is it a human being? No. Ooh. So is it a monster? No. So what could it possibly be? Let's see. What could it be? If it's not human, it's not an animal, it's not a monster. Maybe it's... I said, well, he runs into something. I'm going to go with... He runs into a ruin. Or he runs into a keystone. Or like a pillar of stone. As he's moving through the woods, he just notices it off to the side. And he stops and he looks at it. And he starts to get close to it. And he's feeling around on it. There's all these weird runes and stuff on it. It kind of mesmerizes him for a few moments. And he's pulling the weeds and stuff off of it. And the vines have kind of grown on it. And it's got all kinds of like stones and stuff encrusted in it. And he's got that dagger now. And he's like, I don't know if I could dig those out, if they'd be worth anything. Let's put it off one side. So he starts to try to dig into it. Is there a negative reaction? No. So he's able to dig them out. He gets how many jewels does he get? Dang, he digs 6 jewels out. wow. And we're not sure what value they have. So he's got these 6 jewels now added to his inventory. Oh, wait, we'll put it into a sheet before I forget. Jewels from the, what did I call it? We'll just say ruin. That sounds good. Yeah, that works. So they're just probably like amethyst and quartz and onyx, and just different colors. So he gets those. It kind of worked out for him. I decided that because it wasn't anything else, but I decided that it could have been a trap, but nothing happened to him when he dug them out. So he goes to the next segment. Does he run into anything? This is his second segment. There was going to be 3 before he gets to the edge of the village. Yes. Is it a human? No. Is it an animal? Yes. Finally, it's an animal. So I'm going to assume if he's in an open area on the road, it's probably a rabbit. So for a split second, a rabbit jumps across in front of him, and he brings his bow up and he starts to shoot at it. And since he's hunting, he gets 2. Does he hit the rabbit? Yeah, of course. He kills the rabbit. He takes it and he pelts it. Well, see how good a job he does. He's skinning it. Part of that skill. And he does. He does a fine job. He gets 5 on that. So he makes a pelt. So that's another thing he gets on his way in. He's really racking stuff up. And I think short sword you can only have 10 items. But he also has meat. So I don't know if I want to add that to his rations. Nah. Yeah, I guess we could. Let's take his rations up 1, 2 while we're at it. He'll have to prepare it eventually. So this has really been a good day for him so far, other than the fact he's got a terrible intelligent fungus digging into his brain. So this is his 3rd segment of time getting to the edge of the village. Does he run into anything? No, this time it's quiet. He ain't getting no more things. So slowly but surely he gets to the edge of the village and he can see the village in the distance. And he's going there. As he approaches, there's some people in the outlying area. There's probably a field there where they're growing wheat and making flour and stuff. For later when they harvest, they're gonna make flour. And as he's getting close to it, maybe he runs into some people. And I'll say at least it's going to be at least 1 person he's going to run into. So how many people are there? There's 3 people. All right, so we get this started. We got 3 villagers, right? First one, male or female. 1 through 3 is male. 4 through 5 is female. Write that down for future reference. I think that's usually what I do. Mage Hammer was playing Volve Basic today, and I was like, he did the reverse. I said, I always put the 1 through 3 as male, 4 through 6. I thought that was weird with the reverse of one eye. And it's funny, he's got that Volve. I bought a Volve book, the original Basic one, probably about 2 or 3 months ago. I was like, oh, he done dug his out. He had a bunch of them actually in one box, in the original box set. Mine got eaten by termites. But the first one, first person is going to be male. And the second person will be male. Might be a group of farmers. Not that a woman can't be a farmer. They're all male. There's probably just a group of them. I'm gonna say one is the main caretaker of the farm itself. It's probably a little wheat farm. And I say he's an older man. He's probably bald, and he's probably throwing out some kind of thing to make the fields grow better, or maybe he's pouring water. Maybe he's gathering some water up. He's bald. I say he's balding. He's got some old little like uh, overalls on, and he's sitting there, and he sort of turns and sees uh, Torin coming his way, and he sort of holds his sickle up, like, "Hey, what are you? Who are you? I don't recognize you." And the two other ones, I would say they're younger men. One looks a lot like him, but it's full head of hair, and where whatever hair that the older man has left is reddish, and this young man has long reddish hair. So more than likely that is his son. And the last one is a younger man. He's probably about the same age as the other young male, but his hair's dark and shoulder length. And he's a little bit darker skinned, got a darker toned skin. And the two of them are kind of near one another, and they're looking around in the weed and pulling out weeds and stuff, and then they're throwing it in like a basket. And as they approach, the older man says, "Hey, halt there now, son." And Torrance stops moving. And he says, "What business you have here?" And Torrance says, "Oh, I just saw this village, and I had some stuff, and I was wanting to trade or sell or something. Because, winter's coming, and I've come down from Darkspire Mountain, and I'm looking for a place to live, to stay." The older man looks at him. He says, "Son, what did you say your name was?" And he says, "I'm Torin." He says, "And you say you come from Darkspire Mountain? There's no humans live up there." He said, "Well, we do. We're hunters. We live up there. We're part of the hunter sect." And the old man's eyes get big. He said, "Oh, we haven't seen one of you guys in a long time." And he looks over at his son, and they sort of that's when Torn noticed they were kind of getting ready to fight too, and then they sort of back off. The tension comes down. He said, "I haven't seen none of you in a long time." He said, "The mayor would be glad to hear from you." And Torn says, "Why?" He says, "We've had a problem here for a while." He says, a Tarask has been attacking the village every full moon, and destroying." He points over, and over in a little section of the farm, it's like a ugly looking uh, black and green, black green sort of area that's just sort of, there's nothing growing there. And he says, "Look, it even got my own farm here. It came here and spewed out its poisonous venom onto the ground, and nothing will grow there now." And he says, "None of our men are trained to track things of that nature or do anything. We're farmers here for the most part, and we really don't do that." And he says, "Well, I'll be glad to help you if y'all would let me stay in this area and trade with me." He says, "I tell you what, if you can find this Tarask and get help our men find him and kill him, and then, yes, 100% I have. You can stay in my barn, and that'll probably be a fine place to stay during the winter." And he points out the barn. It's not like a barn we would see. It's just a fancy hut. I guess it's a little bit bigger hut that animals can stay in, and it might have a loft in it or something for that he could stay in. He said, "Oh, that would be great." He said, "Well, I'll take you to see the mayor." And he said, "By the way, my name is Robert." "Oh, it's nice to meet you, Robert." He says, "This is my son, Richard." And that's his friend, Thomas. And they say, "Oh, well met, sir, well met." He says, how many summers are you? And Torin says, oh, I'm just 16. Oh, so young and to be a hunter, you say? He says, yeah. He says, in fact, that's why I have this bow. I was gifted this bow when I proved myself as a hunter. He said, oh, okay. Well, come on. You boys finish here. And he points out to Thomas and Richard. He says, y'all finish here. I'm going to take him to see the mayor. So he guides him on into the village. And it's fairly, let's see how many buildings it has, how many families here. How many buildings? 6 buildings. There you go. So it's a decent sized village. I would say, let's say 7. There's 6 farms or homes. Then there's a mayor type building, and we're going to go ahead and throw in a tavern or an ale house for a place like this. Probably an ale house where they get together and talk and stuff. But he leads him straight up to the mayor's house, and as he's approaching it, there's a guy out front, and he's standing there, and he says, "Whoa, who you got here, Robert?" He says, "This is young Torin. He says he's from the Hunter sect." He says, "Is that right?" He says, "Well, the mayor would be glad to hear about this." He says, he's in his office, and they open up the door to this little bit bigger hut. I guess it's more like a log cabin. And they walk in, and there's this guy behind us. Says, I imagine him being like long, dark hair, piercing blue eyes. He's sitting there at the desk, and he's got stuff that Torrance never seen. It's like pencils and paper and ink. Well, I guess I shouldn't say pencils, charcoal, and he's got a feather, and he's dipping it in his dark liquid, and he's writing. I would even doubt that Torin even knows how to write. Let's see. Does Torin know how to read and write? He does know how to read and write. Not bad. I apologize, Torin. I gotta write that down. Can read and write. Good job. He must have had homeschooling up there in the Hunter sect. So he comes up to him, and he says, Robert sort of comes in real quietly, and he's motioning for Torin to kind of bow down a little bit. And he says, "Oh, Mayor." He says, I have with me a young man. He says he's from the Hunter sect." And the mayor's like, he looks up from his work. He says, "Is that right? What's your name, son?" "I'm Torin, sir." He says, I think Stephen would be a good name for mayor. Stephen Longbeard, which is hilarious because he doesn't have a beard. In fact, when he says his name is Stephen Longbeard, Warner kind of looks at him like, "You might have a beard," but he keeps his tongue. He says, "I've been mayor here for some time. We're usually a peaceful lot, and we usually have no troubles. But alas, that Tarrasque has bothered us for what? A good 4 moons now?" And Robert's like, yes, sir. He says, "If you're from the Hunter sect, then you know how to track such things." And Torin says, yes, I can. He says, "Well, what would you require to do such a thing?" "Well, Master Robert here is giving me an opportunity that if I find this thing for y'all and your men can dispatch it, then I can stay on his property." And he's like, "Well, we could offer more than that. Perhaps a tract of land here that you could become a farmer as well." And Torrance like, "I'm not much of a farmer, sir." He says, "I am more of a hunter. That's what I was born to do. That's what I was trained to do." And Mayor Stevens says, "Okay, then perhaps we can find something of value to bestow upon you." And the guard, comes over to him and starts whispering in his ear. And the mayor smiles. He says, that is a good idea. But let's not worry about that right now. If right now you're just fine staying here in the village, correct?" And Torin shakes his head. He says, "Part of the Hunter sect, when someone reaches my age, we leave our families and we go out and try to make our way in the world." And he said, "Well, that seems like a noble thing to do." He says, "But anyway, I'll have Gilbert here." That's the one main guard. He says, "I'll have Gilbert take you to the last attack, which happened just a fortnight before. And he says, "Oh, well, then I'll get right on it, sir." He says, "Thank you, and please to keep me posted on your progress." So Gilbert says, "Come this way, young Torin, I'll show you." And Robert says, "Oh, you do a good job, son. And like I said, you'll be able to stay on our property in that barn. And it's don't worry, it's warm there. You can build a fire there, and the animals will appreciate that." He says, "But I wish you luck." He says, "Oh, thank you, Master Robert, for setting me up with this." "Oh no, there's no problem." He walks off. And Gilbert says, "So let me take you." And he takes him off to like further away from the center of the village, out towards, I'm trying to think what direction that is. So they're headed south to get there, further south. So they go further south to the edge of the forest. And the forest is kind of thick to the south. And Gilbert says, "We're pretty sure that the Tarrasque is from in this area. He's coming in this area. I've tried to stay up at night on the full moons to catch him, but it's like maybe he can sense me, and he goes around to the other side. And I'm not a hunter like you, young man. And I've looked for tracks, and I can find tracks, but I always end up going in the wrong direction." So Torin says, "Yeah, there's some trickiness to it." So he goes over to the edge of things, and I think this is the last time it attacked the village. It came in through here. So we're gonna have him use his tracking skill to see if he can find any tracks here. Oh yes, let's double. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to stop yanking out of weight on it. That's double. Uh, Good, even on his advantage. So he finds the tracks, and he's like, "Here they are." And Gilbert's looking at it. "Yeah, what you got now?" And he says, "It's right here." He says, "You can see where it's going. Strange. I personally have never seen a Tarrasque. What does it look like?" And Gilbert's like, "Oh, it's like a dragon. It's got a big shell on its back and massive claws. And there's no wings to it. It's more like a worm, I guess. But it spews this terrible poison. It's a terrible critter." He says, "Well, here's its tracks, and I can follow it back it's going back further into the woods." And he says, "More than likely, how big is it?" He says, "Oh, it's about the size of maybe 2 cows." And he says, "Oh, yeah, surely it's made a path." And Gilbert thought, "Oh, he's probably right." Oh, I didn't think of it. So they start to follow through this tracks, and he's following it along. And we're gonna end the story there, because basically this is going into Gilbert and Torin going in there and finding the Tarrasque and dispatching it. So first of all, this was kind of a filler because today's grocery day, and I didn't get have much time to be prepared for it, so it's more theater to the mind. So, well, we'll make a character sheet for Gilbert because this is his companion, and that was something I was thinking about. You really need a companion when you're solo, and I usually do that. I don't know why I didn't do it this time, because especially this game, there's a lot more luck involved. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this is fine, but you want to have help, defeating things. So Gilbert's kind of going to be the scarred guy is going to be his companion going into the woods. And I want to go ahead and make a Tarrasque and, and make it an icon for Gilbert. But it's going to be a while because Friday night is my Pendragon game with Piro. That's the name of my character in that, who is the Marshal of the Pentacle. So, well, we'll see. I've got to do that. So that'll take up all my time Friday. And then Saturday is our vampire game where I play a drummer, a vampire drummer. So that's going to kill those 2 days. So I hope to be back Sunday and hope in the meantime to be able to have made an image for good Gilbert and an image for the Tarrasque and whatever other critters we might run into. But going forward, we also got to worry about his fungus problem, and we got to worry about if he's infecting people. So that's something I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to roll on that. But anyway, and I also want to shout out to uh, Demonic Misfit, who just started his actual play. I thought it was pretty good. He was using Karen. I didn't notice if he was using Karen 2E or not. But he started his, and like I said, Mage Hammer Gaming Table. They've started old D&D, old basic D&D. I love that. You know, he was showing on that when I bought that one copy, and I was reading through it. We're so spoiled now with layout. The layout in books now are so much better. There's so much, not always better art, but there's more art, I guess we should say. And but there is a nostalgia to that. Some of the art's in there is great, and it's classic, memorable. I remember looking through it. Oh yes, I remember that image. I remember it. And when he was looking through it tonight and doing all the, he's creating characters for it. I was like, oh yeah, I remember creating this character. But I did want to shout out to them. Hopefully, I'll remember to post a link to both their videos where they started theirs. But anyway, I want to thank you for watching, and I appreciate you. See you next time.